The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to a very special edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Once more, into the breach do we go, dear friends. And guess what? We've got action in the markets today, politically inspired. But it really makes me think about when I was learning to fly. One of the I think it was my instructor. It may have been the FAA Czech pilot who said that flying was hours and hours of boredom with a few moments of sheer terror. And that's probably for a market that looked almost comatose just before 1 o'clock. Was really woken up by political news. I'll let you check your local news affiliate, who's probably already foaming at the mouth one way or the other about this goings on out here. But there's always that thought of the October surprise. Everybody thought that just about anything that could have been put out had been put out. And, of course, there's always the unknown. And that's what we ran into today. 21.22 on the S&P cash. We're only off 11 points. It's not the end of the world. What is the end of the world, though, for most people is the thought that this market just had no ability to go any lower, which always reminds me of the great there's a chapter in Trading in the Zone by Mark, I want to say Mark Wilson. Somebody in the den will tell me what is it Mark Wilson? Mark Douglas, thank you. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Tom. Anyway, they always, there's a gentleman, and he's a technical analyst. He comes in, and he sits down in front of this guy that's been trading forever. He's 70 years old, and he whips out all these charts, and he says that, corn can't go down any lower than this. There's absolutely no way. And so the guy that's been trading his whole life picks up the phone, says, sell 100,000 corn. And it goes down like 10 cents. And he goes, if I can do that, anybody can do that. And there's a little bit of hubris in believing that nothing can happen. We work in a business of having probabilities. And there's always the thing that you don't know that can come up and bite you. And you have to be willing to spin on a dime and change your tune if you're not. Anyway, we were tracking about 2140, just minding my own business. And all of a sudden, I saw one thing fly across. I posted it in the den, and we took off to the downside. 2.4, let's call it 2.5 billion shares as we start this show. Volume looked like it was tracking in when I wrote the Tech Insider today. Looked like it was going to be 20 or 30% light earlier in the day. That was, I think, at noon, maybe just a little, maybe 11:45, something like that. We are not. We're going to be tracking in very hot today with this volume, and we've gotten down to 21.21, which is kind of where I thought support would be, this 21.22. In fact, I wrote in my newsletter this morning that I thought that at least in the next day or two we were going to come down here anyway. I just thought maybe it would have been Monday. We may have gapped down, and there was going to be the tell and whether or not we get the kind of volume we need. Now, the bank shots on this are everywhere. The dollar is off 58 cents now. That took a rapid beating on the political news. We've seen gold move. We've got crude down. We've got literally everything moving, a lot of moving pieces. I'll let Tom talk about commodities in the next hour. But as far as I can tell, we've just got about everything moving. And when you get what traders call a fast screen. That's when everything's blinking at you. Kind of like those guys at 5 Mile Island when everything started flashing. You don't really a lot of times know what to do, especially if you haven't been in fast markets before. But 11 points is not a fast market. But, if you were trading between noon and 1 today and staring at a screen that looked like paint drying, it looked like a fast market. In fact, everybody was a little chipper in the den between 1 and 2. Anyway, of course, politically, is it going to be something at the margins? I saw a little bit of move that made me think that the IBB, why the S&P is at its lows, the IBB is not. That may connote some level of political interest in the IBB. Some of the other ones out here, but again, 2 or 3 points on the IBB, is that enough to really get too deep down the rabbit hole in politics? I don't know, but some people probably think it does. My guess is that long term or even medium term, it does not matter. As always, we like to come to you at this time, though.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
And what else do we have going on? Well, I guess we can talk about the news. It's only going to take a minute, and then we're going to get on. I've got so many charts to go through today, and we will find out what else is going on. On this day in 1976, I'm foregoing playing the music today to get this in here. More than 184 years after stock trading began on Wall Street, Alice Jarko becomes the first woman ever to work regularly on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. And within 6 months, you'll see his ads running on CNBC if you watch it. Mr. Petterfly, I can't pronounce his name real well. Anyway, he's the king, the original high-frequency trader, got into commodities. He was actually the first to hire a lot of women. He would no one would pay him any attention, so he got a lot of these guys that were married attention by hiring very pretty models to be his market makers on the floor of the option exchange. I wonder if that's. I guess this is on the New York Stock Exchange. I think maybe he did that in 1974 or 75. I'm going to have to go back and read his book. But very interesting guy. Of course, he was the first high-frequency trader. And they made him unhook his computer from the NASDAQ. And then they said you have to physically type everything in on the keyboard. So he made a little robot that would type from a computer but actually pushed the keys, and they couldn't get around that and told him to unhook it. He just didn't, and they finally gave up. But kind of the original birth of high-frequency trading and women on Wall Street on this day in 1976. Got a lot of moving parts out here. We'll get back with it. Tons of moving stocks. I don't know if we can get it all in. It's like trying to get 10 pounds in a 5-pound sack today. We'll be back.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Somebody upset that I didn't play my clip out there from the Propeller Heads and Shirley Bassey. But what a great song. 21.26, so we bounced up a little bit off of what I thought would be the first support level at 21.22. But guess what? We only have, an hour and 40 minutes left in the day, and it's going to be hard to get a lot of people to get in front of this freight train that looks like it's heading into the close out here today. Certainly, we've got volume closing in on 2.6 billion shares in the New York Consolidated Tape. And getting a little bit of pin action out here. The question is, too few details on the news. I checked during the break, checked some of the talking head weasels on the news channels. They were already in full frothy, rabid like a dog foaming at the mouth kind of stuff already. So it'll be an interesting weekend. Anyway, we're going to have decent volume on a Friday and most likely at least a little bit of a down day. Question is whether or not, or how bad does this get going into the close today. I did add one more short position today, which I kind of enjoyed the bounce we had earlier in the day. And so I continue to add positions as I get opportunities. Yesterday, we talked quite a bit about a certain stock called AMZN.
I informed you thusly.
I suspected that just about everybody that had wanted to go long had all the shares that they ever wanted to get in Amazon, at least in the medium term, maybe the next 6 months or a year, that it had been acting very much like Apple several years ago on September 29th. I remember that because I put out a special top in Apple edition of the Tech Insider. But there are a few things that you have to always realize, and that is eventually everybody that's ever going to buy a stock is probably in it when it's gone up, just amazingly high. My target, I said, was in the next 6 months down to the 650, 600 range. I suspect that has a long way to go. We did see a low after hours of about 740. My reasons were multiple yesterday. One, of course, was that most everybody that wanted to get long had gotten long. Two, nobody or very few people thought about this as an actual short. And three, Mr. Bezos was spending money like a drunken sailor. Apologies to drunken sailors. He was buying about $6 billion in planes. He was putting $6 billion into India. $1 billion here, $1 billion there. Pretty soon, you know what? It starts to add up. That's what politicians say anyway. What else do we have in that? Well, low margins. And if this is a week of anything, it is a week of high margins in Apple, just fading a little bit and seeing huge amounts of pressure. By the way, Apple is now off 72 cents at 113.76. We'll take a look at it. But Amazon is a low margin business. Their margins slipped a little. And when you're only making 6%, you go to 5.5%. That's a very big deal. Anyway, the other thing was that he was going to double his spending also on content creation for Amazon Prime Video. I like his Bosch series. I've got Amazon Prime. I like it. But you have to divorce the stock from the company, right? At some point, anything can be too expensive and get ahead of itself. Anyway, I suspect that the next few days we will see this at least come back down and test the after-hours trading range of about 740. So that's going to probably be your first low if you were thinking about maybe paying this for a bounce or an ABC up. But 740 is probably somewhere in there. Watch Woody Allen series. You know what? I heard the Woody Allen series got horrible reviews and said it's just unwatchable. Yeah, I've got my top men on it. Top men. Little Raiders of the Lost Ark. Somebody says it's great. I heard so many people, about 80% of the people on Rotten Tomatoes say it's horrifically bad. Anyway, back to Amazon. So we've got that going for us. That kind of started the market off. We're trading at 778 and change right now. The low of the day was 774. So we'll continue to keep on that. But we'll see. We're just off 6 points in the S&P, not the end of the world. But I think whoever's been trying to keep this market up might try through the end of the day. I still suspect it's going to be very hard to get a lot of people out of the way and not wanting to sell any bounce out here, at least through the end of the day. 2.6 billion shares on the NYSE. Now, we can go to earnings already in progress. And when we look at the biggest winners out here today, at least the ones I have on my radar is a MicroStrategy. This one has popped right back up to its resistance level. It's a light volume stock, but it's also a $200 stock. MicroStrategy, decent volume out here today. Yes, more volume than before, but it's a very light volume stock. So kind of tough to see exactly how this plays out. Now, this gap past another gap, past another gap. So on the longer term out here, it's kind of tough to get a good read on this. If this is certainly breaking this June 7th high of 2016, your next real long-term move would be to 226.48, which is the August 17th, 2015 high. So I'm going to have to dig into a little bit more about what they do and how they do it. I didn't like the going sideways out here. It may be a case of just too high and too much short interest, and they blew everybody out today. Royal Caribbean is another one on the winner's side. And what do we have? Nice little pop-up from Royal Caribbean. These stocks tend to get fairly strong, of course, in this time frame as vacations come in tend to be weak in the spring and in the summer until vacations start firing back up. Nice pop out here today on Royal Caribbean. It's just going back up into this gap down, though, that it had with big volume that goes back to the 24th of June. So more of a trading range, but a nice pop in this nonetheless. Cirrus Logic, CRUS, another one out here, up 7% today. Now, this one is tagging its previous high. Did not hold that high of September 20th, 2.8 million shares that day. And, of course, we've got 2.8 already today. So into that candle with the volume, not holding that high. And we'll see what happens on Monday on this. These are a few that are probably going to be a little iffy out here on a day where we're having a lot of political and palace intrigue on a very special power trading hour today.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we've got the S&P 5 points off the low. It's just off 5 points, but that's now, 13 or 14 points off the high of the day. So we've got a market in chaos, at least a little bit out here for what everybody thought was going to be a very calm and sedate Friday. 2.65 billion shares. So volume is now starting to slow back to the way it was. We'll have to see how today closes. In other news, Baker Hughes had some kind of deal with GE. They popped the stock very hard pre-market without a lot of details. What you come to find out is that deal with GE isn't really much. But like a lot of times, you got people on the short side of a stock, and sucker never gets an even break. In this case, they're able to run many of the shorts out of this on what is fairly dubious information, at least so far. You may wait for this thing to go it's blown through its October 7th high, $57.40, 3.4 million shares. If you see this duck back down in Monday or Tuesday off of this news, you may think that this thing may have a lot farther to go down. Seeing a lot of these on dubious news bounce and then almost immediately turn back south toward the border. Anyway, what else do we have going on? I'm just watching out of three eyes. I need an eye in the back of my head now so I can look at yet another monitor. Expedia, another very interesting stock in that it missed earnings and went higher. It did so because it's got a monster high short interest, and everybody decided to run this one. And this is another one. Heard Tom talk about it on a show yesterday. We were short this with some puts, and this thing kind of. Let me put it this way. I didn't make money twice, but I kept my losses low. But this whole sector looks like it could blow up along with Priceline. The question is, everybody apparently knows it already and is short. And what do you do about that? You just have to wait until all the shorts get off of this thing until they come back in. But it is an interesting stock, but seems to have a fundamental flaw in its business practices. Maybe this gets to 139 and runs all the shorts out of it and then rolls back over. But a very dubious chart, a very dubious problem with its business. So what do you do? Well, everybody and their dog knows it. It is tough to see it. It is the proverbial watch pot that does not boil. Tesla, of course, came out with earnings, and what a snooze fest. 25% short interest on this, so it's not going all that far. Now, let's take a look at some other stocks. These stocks are EHTH. On the other side of the ledger, the first one is eHealth. I don't know a lot about this one. Ew. Yes, this one blew up right through the lows. Monster volume. It's needed like maybe 2 million shares out here. Anyway, there's a high volume low out here. It's going through it today, 2.4 million shares. I don't know a lot about this particular company. Let me look this up real quick and quote. They're out with you. Online health insurance services in the United States and China. It's e-commerce platforms organized and present health insurance information in various formats that enable individuals, families, and small business to research, analyze, compare, and purchase a range of healthcare insurance plans. So not doing well. Who knows if this is some adjunct. Anyway, nice volume. It's blowing through its lows. It's the biggest loser at 35% off today. Another one that's been all downside since earnings last night is MCK. This is McKesson Corporation. This one is another one that took a swan dive overnight and just blew through all these things. In fact, it had a bunch of gaps, and it went right through them. These go back gaps. Go back to, what is that, 2013. So this thing had already been in a downtrend. Monster volume today of 22 million shares, but down to 114.53. It's trading at 122.25 right now. So kind of tough to figure out how that works out. But I guess when you get bad news, it is bad. A lot of times over the last couple of years, you've had bad news and the stocks have not reacted to it. The old saying on Wall Street is, it doesn't matter till it matters. Well, it certainly mattered with this one. Synaptics is another one, off 20%, SYNA. These guys make chips that control the touch screens that you touch everywhere. They are put in anything from Apple iPads to, of course, all the Android phones. This one, basically, they're just saying sales are down. Unclear if it's just for their chip. Maybe a competitor's chip is doing well, but theirs is not. Down 20%, down on 4 million shares. Next support level would come in at $47.09. 9 cents. What else do we have on the list out here? Cardinal Healthcare. No good news in this sector lately. From the rate hikes of anywhere from 25 to 115% in Obamacare. Everybody's looking for a way out the door. And, man, don't you wish you would have sold this yesterday if you owned it at the close yesterday? Down on monstrous volume itself. Looks like the biggest volume in the last 4 years. In fact, the next big low out here that would look as support is at $60.12. That takes you back to May 5th of 2014. So about it. There's a little gap down there at 62. May take a while. You'll probably bounce, go back and forth a little bit on this thing, but huge volume. So we do have some blowout stocks out here. Some stocks that we don't normally talk about are Goodyear Tire and Rubber. This one had been beating around at its highs in the $33 to $35 range for months. Had lighter volume back here on October 10th. Energy wasn't that bad from the July 6th low, but this one took yet another swan dive down on some decent volume of about 10 million shares already. Doesn't show anything yet. You would need to look at the 24.25 July 6th low and see how that comes in to see if this thing can stay in this trading range. We talked about Amazon already. Another killer move is in Amgen today. Like I said, this is just go through these stocks as fast as possible. Down today on 14 million shares. Amgen looks like it's at least going to come down and test this 140 gap and the 137.31 low from March 10th. If it fails there, you're back into the 126.96 low of September 28th, 2015. I think we're starting to see a theme out here in a handful of stocks. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And a kind of interesting point about the way that the market works, someone brought something up in the den. That is that senators and congressmen can be insider traders. They can trade on what they know. And apparently this discussion was going on before the news broke at 1, from about 11:45 to 12:45. And there was no indication on, if they knew, a senator and apparently a bunch of them knew, at least 10, that, they could have called Goldman Sachs up and said, hey, I need you to put a little ES short on me or buy some ES puts for the close today. You always wonder how much of that actually goes on, but it's legal. And once they do that, don't you think Goldman Sachs, if all the senators call up at once, they don't even have to say anything, do they? You get 5 senators calling up at once asking you for shorts and puts and everything else. Don't you kind of already know? Yeah, that would be very interesting to find out what they do and whether or not it's considered inside trading by Goldman Sachs to act on what their customers do. I'm sure they have some weasel way of doing it and acting pure as the driven snow. Anyway, we were talking about Amgen down horrifically fast. I do not suspect that we're going to bounce out of this. In fact, I'm thinking that there's a 50% chance we close around the lows of the day, and maybe another 20% chance that we go significantly lower than that into the close. Details still breaking about a political October surprise that came out today at 1 o'clock, 2.75 billion shares. And every few minutes that we go by and there isn't a rip-roaring rally out of this market, makes more people have to look at a 2-day weekend and wonder what is going to come out, and is the text of these emails going to come out, and the worries get a little bigger. I'm not a big fan of trying to be a hero. In fact, engineer, can you find Billy? Don't be a hero. That will be my song on the next inside bumper today, if you can find it, if he's listening. What else do we have? Dollar a little up off the lows, but not much, 98.46. We've got crude off 2% on a variety of news, not just that. And of course, we've got some very big moves in the VIX out here today. It's up 7%. So let's go through some of the other stocks. Hopefully we can get them in this segment. Some of the stocks that seemed rather impervious to downside moves has been Electronic Arts, games. computer gaming has been a move. This thing has had very light volume for maybe 2 months. You go back to the beginning of August when this thing really started coming out of its consolidation above the $76, $77 range and started moving up. It's had a couple of days where there's been a little action, but you get into about the 3rd of August, and this thing has been working on fairly light volume. Now, if you want to start, this is going to be a big day to start looking at some of these stocks. What's this one? That's a 3x3. Let's go back to the 9-day traditional there. A lot of these stocks are breaking, and you could see it in Electronic Arts out here. That is down on volume. It's broke pretty much Bollinger Bands, everything else. My guess, as I've said, there's so many of these stocks with double gaps on them. In this case, this gap down on the 29th of February. It gapped back up with huge volume on the 11th of May. And there's 2 gaps right here at about, let's call it 68, 69 bucks. I am seeing so many of these stocks over the last month come back into these places that had double gaps. Even just single gaps seem to be fairly good attractors of price, but double gaps do work doubly good, it seems like, at least lately. I haven't noticed this. Maybe it's just a market kind of thing. I did this and wrote this, these gaps this way, just for this purpose, because it did happen, I don't know, maybe 2005 or 6, and I did see it then. I wasn't writing a lot of stuff down then, so I didn't see it as much, but I kind of remembered it and why I wanted to have gaps displayed this way. And if you can't really tell on Tiger TV, I've got one color for gaps down, one color for gaps up. And when both of them mix, you get yet another color because they're kind of transparent. But that's what we were looking at. If you look at my mouse pointer here on this day, on the 11th of May, you'll see that gap up. And you get that combination of it. And it's almost kind of like a confluence where we take 2 different Fibonacci numbers and move them back. But, stocks tend to like to move to gaps, mostly because there isn't any trading there, and you can kind of move them around. I don't know if it's more about stock manipulation, but still an interesting thing. Another stock that whiffed today was AutoNation. No surprise out there. We've been looking at autos rolling over for a while, especially the news that we brought up over the last month or two. In fact, even 6 months ago, we were talking about the subprime loans and cars really starting to roll over. And 2 weeks ago, we saw the repos really go up in this sector. Down with some volume out here. It looks like it's going to go back and test this January 28th, $40, 45-cent low with 2.9 million shares. Just 1.8 million shares so far. But certainly that sector doesn't look all that good, too. And if it just could make you cry, Bud itself, Anheuser-Busch InBev, is out of bed, not Bev, out of bed. Down today, volume picking up. 116.96 is the low so far today. Back to 108.61. It looks like this will go, and a merry way it will go. And I don't know if you can say much more about that. It may be much more now that they're owned by the Europeans and how their European business does with the British exit. ExxonMobil, another one out here. Not a lot so far. Volume is picking up a little bit compared to the last few days. But it's got a little gap out here that looks like it could get tested. It's about, 81.50? We'll call it about 81.50. That takes you back to this gap on April 8th of this year. Gapped up on 9.4 million shares. You did come back and try to get into that gap with 17 million shares on September 27th. So you need to get that thing tested. Then gaps up the next day on 28 million shares. A little gap out there, but a nice move, sign of strength. Now it looks like it's getting ready to come back and test this thing 81.50, 81.75 may not be a bad place to take a look at this if volume comes back down with light energy. We're going to the break now. You still have time to give me a call at 877-927-6648. Got a couple of emails out here. How low can VRX go, and Vail and First Solar? Maybe we'll get to all those in the last segment.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Well, I'm sure Tom O'Brien's warming up in the bullpen to close out the last hour of programming for TFNN this week. And, of course, with this action, especially the action in the commodities, I'm sure everybody's waiting with bated breath. I'll put a worm on my tongue to actually get that bated breath and get ready for the closing bell, because it will be a big deal. 2126 on the S&P cash, 2.8 billion shares. That puts us into the 4 billion possible for the end of the day. So could have some very big volume over the next few days, or at least it's starting to ramp up when we've had 3.1 and 3.2 billion days and 3.4 being big days out here. But we'll keep an eye on it. A little up off the lows. I'm just wondering how many people are going to want to hold that into the close. Question from the email is Valiant Pharmaceuticals, how low can it go? Well, it can go to zero. There's some fairly compelling cases from the shorts out here. My thought would be you wanted to be short that thing when it was above 100. Now when you get into these things out here, go look at Sears. How many years did Sears go sideways? And we know what's going to happen to Sears. Same thing with BlackBerry. It took, 3 years for Radio Shack to go from $3 to zero. These things can languish a very long time if they're not out-and-out frauds like Enron. I just think that there's much better shorts out here if you're thinking about going short. If you're thinking about going long, I would never be long this thing unless I was sitting in front of a screen and trading it during the day. I would never go home at night after hours and try to figure out anything. And even then, I would be dubious to do that. But this thing's got a mountain of shorts. Can you get a $10, $15 rip in this thing in a day? You probably can. Unfortunately, it'll probably be a gap up, and you won't get it anyway. So sometimes it's just better to move on. What else did we have out here? Vale, V-A-L-E. Nice little breakout here. What do you need? You need 74 million shares. You had 55 million shares. You had 46 million shares. You had 42 million shares. So you've broken above the April 21st low, did it with lighter volume. Huge shorts in this, which I do not like on a $7 stock. It seems everybody and their dog's shorting it. So probably wouldn't think ever about doing that. I don't like to short stocks for the most part under $30. Although I did today for the first time in maybe a couple of years. I found one I really liked. Anyway, to me, this thing's probably going to come back into this trading range. That would be back below the $6.26 high. And First Solar, apparently you haven't been listening to this program because you think of stocks that I think of that could easily go back to zero. It's these solar stocks. And the thought is eventually especially if you get a change of administrations from the parties, these solar stocks have been nothing but piggy banks for elections. My guess is they will be treated quite rudely by a change in the Oval Office to another party. They already have a great deal of what's going on. This one's down with extensive volume off of its high. Just looking at this, I could see this thing coming back to $24.46, the March 4th, 2013 low. We will be back on Monday, bright and shiny, after reading lots and lots of news, apparently over the weekend on the political front. And then we'll be fresh to start off another trading week. So when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you Monday. Same bat channel, same bat day.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.